Hey Bobcats, I got this great question emailed to me and I'm going to work through it with you. Now, let me just address the last couple of days. I understand that these questions have been extremely challenging. It may have not been the best idea for me to assign them to you during distance learning, but I'm also trying to make sure that you are prepared for accelerated math next year. So tomorrow's lesson is going to hone in on just a couple types of word problems, and it's going to be instructed by me. So I'm going to go through, give you some tips, and show you how to decipher the word problems so that you can set up a system of equations and solve it. So hang in there. We're almost to the finish line for systems of linear equations. We will be moving on next week, and I think you'll enjoy the rest of the subject matter very much. So let's take a look at this problem. Michael breeds chickens and ducks. Last month he sold 50 chickens and 30 ducks for $550. This month he sold 44 chickens and 36 ducks for $532. So it says a chicken costs blank and a duck costs blank. Well, when they do this, they're basically setting it up for you so you already know what your two unknowns are. So now that we know what our two unknowns are, we have chickens and ducks. The price of chickens and ducks actually is what we need. I'm going to create some variables. So I'm going to have C be the cost of a chicken and D be the cost of the duck. So the first thing you do whenever you are introduced to a word problem like this for a system of linear equations is you figure out what two things you're looking for. So in this case, we're looking for the cost of the chicken and the cost of the duck. After you've identified those two things and you've assigned variables to them, then we can go ahead and write our two equations. So let's take a look here. You need to break the information in the problem apart into two separate equations. So when I read this, what I'm hearing is this part right here, 50 chickens and 30 ducks for $550. That is one set of data that we can write an equation for. Okay, we don't know how much chickens cost yet, but we are going to have C be that variable. So 50 chickens, so 50 times the cost of the chickens would be 50C. And 30 ducks. Well, again, we don't know how much the ducks cost yet, so we're going to use D for that. So the cost of each duck times 30. Okay, altogether, the amount that's collected for the chickens and for the ducks, we know, is $550. So there's one equation. If we only had that bit of information, we would not be able to solve this problem. But we're given some more information. It says he sold 44 chickens and 36 ducks for $532. At this point, you should, based on this equation, you should kind of understand how to set this up. 44 chickens, so 44 times the cost of a chicken, plus 36 times the cost of a duck, equals 532. All right, so at this point, you're going to want to solve for a variable, or solve by graphing. You could do one of the two methods. Trying to decide which method I would prefer. I think in this case, I'm going to choose graphing. I think it'll be a lot easier. Well, those numbers are pretty big though. Okay, I'm doing substitution. So I'm going to solve for a variable. I'm going to solve for D here. These are not pretty numbers, so you're going to probably end up with some kind of fraction, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 50C from both sides. And I'm left with 30D is equal to 550 minus 50C. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 30. And I get that D is equal to 55 thirds So this will be, well, I am going to reduce that and or turn it into a mixed number in just a second. So that would be, 54, 125, 18, and 1/3. And then this would be 1 2/3 C. Like I said, it's kind of ugly. Now we're going to take this whole thing and plug it in for D. So now we're going to have 44C plus 36 times, you know what, I'm actually, when I plug it in, I'm going to use this right here instead. Because of that 18, or this 36, it's divisible by 3, so it's going to knock out that denominator, which would be really great. Okay, well 36 divided by 3 is 12. And then we just need to do 12 times 55. Okay, so this is going to be 660. And then 36 divided by 3 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. C is equal to 532. Oh, this should be a plus sign. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm going to combine like terms now. So this is going to be 660, and then this is going to be negative 16C is equal to 532. Subtract 660 from both sides. You get negative 16C is equal to negative 128. Divide both sides by negative 16. Okay, and we get that C is equal to 8. So what we're saying is that the cost of a chicken is $8. Okay, now we need to plug it in somewhere and find out the cost of a duck. So I'm going to go back to that original equation. I'm going to do C is 8 now. We know the cost of that chicken. This is 400. Subtract 400 from both sides. And we get 30D is equal to 150. And then we divide both sides by 30, and we get 5. So that means a duck costs $5. Okay. We would also want to just plug it into the original set of information here, this equation, and just make sure that it does make sense. Multiply 8 times 44, 5 times 36, add them up and make sure that it equals 532. All right, I do, this whole part with the fractions, I can see how that would throw some people off. And there's probably a way of solving this that does not involve yucky fractions like that, but I just went with what my first instinct was. So, all right, Bobcats, please let me know if you have any more questions. Keep them coming, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great day. Bye.